we explore diagnosing. Diagnosis is the process of understanding how the organization is currently functioning, and it provides the information necessary to design change interventions. Diagnosis follows entering and contracting activities and is designed to uncover the root causes of issues that the organization wants to address. To do that, some sort of framework is needed in order to ensure all important areas of concerns are addressed. Diagnostic models point out what areas to examine and what questions to ask in assessing how an organization is functioning. The general model that underlies most of the diagnosing in organizational development is the open systems model, which we're going to explore further. The open systems model recognizes that organizations exist in the context of a larger environment that affects how the organization performs and in turn is affected by how the organization interacts with it. It is based on the systems theory, which is a set of concepts and relationships describing the properties and behaviors of things called systems, including organizations, groups, and jobs. The model includes environments, inputs, transformations, and outputs, boundaries, feedback, and alignment. Environments are everything outside the system that can directly or indirectly affect its outputs. Inputs are human capital or other resources such as information, energy, and materials. Transformations are the process of converting inputs into outputs. Outputs are the results of what is transformed by the system. Boundaries help to distinguish between organizational systems and their environments because they establish the limits of the system. The boundaries can be defined as physical locations as well as managerial, technical, and social purposes. Feedback is information regarding the actual performance or the outputs of the system. Alignment describes how well the system's different parts and elements align with each other to influence effectiveness. Organizations can be diagnosed at 3 levels: the overall organization, the group or department, or individually. The key to effective diagnosis is to know what to look for at each organizational level and to recognize how the levels affect each other. From the organizational environments and outputs, environmental types include general environment, task environment, and industry structure, as well as enacted environment. Our environmental dimensions include rate of change and complexity and information uncertainty. An organization's design is composed of 4 components: technology, structure, management processes, and human resources systems. It is surrounded by an intermediate input, which is the strategy, and an intermediate output, which is the culture, that need to be considered along with the organization's design. Effective organizations align their strategy to environmental outputs and then fit the design components to each other to support the strategy and to jointly promote strategic behaviors. A strategy represents the way an organization uses its resources to achieve its goals and to gain competitive advantage in a particular environment. Technology is concerned with the way an organization converts inputs into products and services. It represents the core transformation process and includes production methods, workflow, and equipment. 2 features of the technological core influence other design components include technical interdependence and technical uncertainty. Now, structure is the basic organizing model for dividing the overall work of an organization into subunits that can assign tasks to groups or individuals and coordinating these subunits for completion of the overall work. The amount of coordination needed is a function of the amount of environmental uncertainty, the degree of which subunits differ from each other, and the amount of interdependence among subunits. Now, management processes are methods for processing information, making decisions, and controlling the operation of the organization. They help the organization to understand how well it is performing. to detect and control deviations from goals, to make relevant decisions, and to communicate the results. Human resources systems include mechanisms for selecting, developing, appraising, and rewarding organization members. These influence the mix of skills, personal characteristics, and behaviors of organization members. Organization culture represents the basic assumptions, values, and norms shared by organization members. The outputs of organization design are measures of how well the design contributes to organizational effectiveness. This can include three kinds of outcomes. Organization performance refers to financial outcomes, such as sales, profits, and return on investment. Productivity concerns internal measurements of efficiency, such as sales per employee. Stakeholder satisfaction reflects how well the organization has met the expectations of different groups having an interest in the organization. Diagnosing the effectiveness of an organization requires knowledge of the process and elements to determine alignment or fit among them. One might ask the following questions. Does the organization's strategy fit the outputs? And do the organization design components fit with each other to jointly support the strategy?